All right, so if you're watching this, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of introduce things and we're gonna get started. So we're gonna be interviewing Derek today. We're gonna be getting into a lot of different stuff. So we're gonna talk about Derek's story, and the intention, I think, is to show how you can, much like my story, how you can
Come from the bottom.
come from a really difficult place. A lot of people go through a lot of things every day and whatnot, and sometimes we take life for granted. And you never know how long it's going to last. You never know how long you're going to be here. And so when you go through traumatic and difficult experiences, it can really change your thought process. And some people have a really tough time with that. Some people don't come out of it well. Other people really thrive out of it. And so I think the intention today is to talk about and to try to figure out how to create a thriving mindset through a lot of difficult experiences. Okay. So I'm going to turn this over to the camera over to Derek, and then I'm going to ask him some questions to kind of get us started. Okay. You're going to be looking at yourself.
All right.
It's going to get kind of weird for you. You'll be fine. All right.
What's up, YouTube?
All right. So, Derek, let's start with, how old are you?
I am 27.
Okay, cool. How long have you been 27?
Since March, so we're going on what, 4 months?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. And what area are you from? Like, what's a bigger city there where you live, or a bigger area?
Probably, I guess, say the Williamsport area, Central PA.
Cool. Have you lived there your whole life?
No, I kind of moved all over the place. It's kind of where we made our stake and claim the past, 12 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
You have any kids?
Nope.
No. Married?
Nope.
Well, there you go. Maybe you'll find somebody on. Let's start with what did you do for work before you started working for the company? And you can get into some of well, let's just start there.
Well, before I was working in a factory. I was help manufacturing hot tubs, but before that, for a good portion out of high school, I was doing concrete work, which I really enjoyed, but it's pretty labor intensive, so not something I can really get into anymore with my current medical situation, I guess. But no,
Yeah.
Hated them. Hated the factory work. Absolutely.
What did you hate about the factory work?
Just no sense of leadership, no direction there. Like anytime I'd try to, because I was the team lead in my department. So anytime I was trying to have questions on improvement and stuff, I kind of just got brushed under the rug because there always seemed to be something more important going on. So wasn't really a great place for me to learn how to become, in the sense of a manager, how to manage people. So
Yeah.
it just wasn't very guiding. It was just 10 hours a day, sometimes 12, depending, and not a life to live.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're accomplishing anything. I feel like
No, you don't have the time or energy ever to do anything during the week or even on the weekend. So
what so you started with us back in November?
Mhm.
Okay. And so you went through the winter and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
How was door to door during the winter? Go ahead.
It's fun,
Yeah.
I guess, as long as you got waterproof shoes. But other than that, no, it's a game of fishing, especially during that time, because you're kind of going off of just questions, because gets dark out early, so you have to kind of assume what problems are happening in the neighborhood and such. So
No doubt. Yeah. It's tough. I think that when you look at your experience and whatnot, it's a great time to be able to start in the job, because when you come out of that, it feels so much easier.
oh my God, yeah.
When it starts getting lighter out again, it's like, this is great. This feels good. And so, I mean, you take the good with the bad, I guess. So let's talk a little bit about the day that you were injured and whatnot. So what day was that? Do you know the date?
November 10th, 2019. I had a friend who I let live with me for a good portion of 5 months. He was just down and out. I tried to help him out, tried to help him save money so he could get a place of his own. And he had a friend come up to the house. We were supposed to just smoke, chill, hang out, and out of nowhere he punched him in the side of the head, and I immediately cut it off and said, "You need to get out of here."
Let's back up a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
so all right, so what time of day roughly was this?
Oh, middle of the day, 3 o'clock, something like that. Yeah.
So you have without names, obviously, not like that, but you have, so you have your friends staying with you.
Right, and
Okay.
then a mutual friend, I mean, that I knew but didn't really hang out too much with, he brought him up and he had somebody else I didn't know with him, and yeah,
So
so,
two people come to your house.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and what happens? Just back up a little bit.
My friend just got finished rolling up a joint and out of nowhere, one friend got up and just socked him in the side of the face, and then I just said, whoa, we're not doing this in my house here today, so,
You know why that happened?
because he took a hat. He
Okay.
took like a $70 North Face beanie and it ticked him off because he didn't admit to doing it, which, I mean, I won't speak on that on him and his habits, but I mean, he
Yeah.
tends to do that type of stuff by accident, but
Yeah.
yeah, so anyway, got him out of the house. He said, no, I had a problem with him, and I was like, nah, tell him to meet us in the alleyway. We'll just go scrap it out, get this settled with if there's a serious issue like that. So
Yeah, and well, let's stop there for 1 second. I mean, that's the way, I don't know about for you, but the way that growing up, things were always dealt with. It's like you just go handle it, deal with it, and then it's done. That's the end of it, right? And I'm guessing that it was somewhat of the same thing, you know?
yeah,
That's
that's
what
all we were
it's
trying to go for. Yeah, it was supposed to be like a quick one-on-one between him and that's not unfortunately what happened. The one other guy that I didn't know was with him. They ended up ganging up on my friend, and so I took 2 steps towards the fight, and out of nowhere, another guy who was in the car, I didn't even notice him. He just runs up to me, and from about me to you away, he just pulls up a 45 caliber gun, and he just shot me 5 times, and 2 times in the leg and 3 times in the stomach, and
45 caliber.
yeah, with hollow tips.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's back up there for a second. Some people might not know a lot about guns. I don't know a ton about guns. I'm, from Massachusetts, so I know that I bought like a 22 from like 1896 when I was like 12 years old. That was the first gun I had, but that's a big bullet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there are some big holes too.
Yeah. So, all right. So you got these two people that are there. One of the guy, they both start jumping on him. You said?
Yeah, they were literally ripping his dreads out and stuff. So I took 2 steps towards the fight because I was like, all right, now that this is no longer fair in any way.
Yeah.
So didn't even get to do anything before he just ran up. I was like, what are you doing? And he's just like, and I was like, they're throwing hands right now. That's some part of my language, but pussy shit. And he said, nah, and just shot me. So
Okay, so he pulls out the gun, he shoots you. What are you? And I'm sorry to bring it back to this time, but
No,
what are you thinking? I mean, you probably didn't have a lot of time, but what are you thinking when he pulls out the gun?
I mean, I should have been more like, no, you got it, but I just, yeah, I'm a little hard-headed. I refuse to fear any tool formed by man. So, but no, there wasn't really any reaction time. It was just like a 3-second thing, and he just immediately fired real quick.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen some of the wounds and stuff like that. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a lot to handle, and one of them hit like an artery or something, right?
Yeah, the second one went through my femoral artery, which for some reason, by the grace of God, I saw that it was excessively bleeding, and I slapped my hand on it and just managed, like with my sweatpants on, soaking up, I guess. It made like a bandage type deal and managed to stop the blood from completely leaking out, because even the EMT said I should have probably bled out on the scene, to be honest.
So did you ever pass out during the time?
Not until I got into the ambulance. I was still awake for about like 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think it was like 7 to 10, maybe something like that.
So the ambulance took 7 to 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah, but I was still awake for probably like 11 to 15 minutes. So after the fact.
Who called 911?
Apparently a bunch of people. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it was right downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was next to all these businesses and stuff, like a bunch of people called. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's really wild. And I mean, there's so many things that I think about, like, at least you survived and you got somebody off the street that was obviously willing to do that for nothing, basically nothing.
yeah.
I mean, when you break it all down, it's a hat. You think so many times about, I just buy the guy a new hat. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
yeah, but he didn't shoot me over the hat. But I still personally don't know exactly why he did it, but I have my assumptions that it was from something like 9 years ago prior, involving a ex-girlfriend. So
but even then, it's like I cannot think of one situation from like, I mean,
It's just not worth
realistically,
it or logical at all.
it's
regardless.
crazy. And so the ambulance gets there, they get you into the ambulance and you pass out. When do you wake up?
About 2 days later.
2 days later? Okay.
Yeah, they had to perform, I think, 9 emergency surgeries. 4 of them were to help reconnect my leg because the first one bullet completely shattered my femur, and I actually remember trying to get back up, but my leg wasn't moving, so I started shaking it around, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's not attached at all." So
That's gruesome.
yeah, no.
That's gruesome. And so you remember vividly then everything.
Oh, I remember the whole situation, like
Jesus.
black and white. Yeah, but
So you wake up, your family around you and stuff like that?
yeah. My mom was present. I think my grandmother and stepdad too. So
How did what were their emotions?
my mom was just frantic and ecstatic to see that I was alive and I woke up. The fact that they managed to save my leg and I wasn't paralyzed, because they also had to remove a half an inch of my spinal cord because half of the one hollow tip split off and went right in, lodged itself right into my vertebrae. So as I said, by the grace of God, I don't know how I'm not paralyzed. I don't know how I'm not dead, but we're here.
Yeah, well, that will make you believe, you know. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
you know, I think that there's you know, we live in a world
There's a higher power. I won't preach religion or anything like that, but you better believe there's something keeping the balance of things in the universe. That is a fact.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the situations where, I mean, you know, it's showing itself there. You know what I'm saying? It's showing itself there. It's showing itself there. Okay, so how long were you in the hospital?
About a month and a half, and then I came home and started doing physical therapy and such, starting to learn how to walk again.
How long was the basic recovery time? You know, obviously there's still things and whatnot that you deal with and stuff, but the basic recovery time, how long was that?
In terms of like me just like functioning normal again, or like
like till you felt reasonably well.
Probably about 6 months.
Yeah,
about 6 months, and then that's when I took the factory job.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to push myself into, like, they started me out doing something simple like sanding and stuff like that. So, but then I got bored of that because I was like, I'm doing this pretty easily. So I moved on to something more vigorous and ended up becoming the team leader in that department.
Yeah,
But
that's and what are some of the let's talk about the trial in a second too, but what are some of the injuries or the things that you still deal with because of this physically?
The worst of it, I would say, is the back pain. It's I can't like sit on like hard surfaces for very long without having to get up and shift around and move. But also I have to constantly check out for my blood clots. I have to go get ultrasounds every 6 months to make sure that there's still proper blood flow making its way to my leg and to my foot, because that could potentially go dead at some point. So have to keep track of that. But there's also, I have like nickel-sized blood clots in my lungs. So heart attack is also always on the table, but so I take blood thinners. So
Okay,
but
try to stay healthy, I'm guessing.
yeah, no, I mean, granted, I'm a bigger guy, but I mean, I actually used to weigh about like 340 back when I was like 16, and my doctor said I had fatty liver disease and said you need to do something, otherwise you could die in a year's time from like diabetes or something. So I took it upon myself, stopped drinking soda, eating healthier, and joined sports. Lost like 70 pounds in high school and kind of dwindled down about another 40 pounds over the past like 8 years. So
Yeah, I mean, you're not that big of a guy, dude.
Well,
I mean, you were. I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I definitely. Yeah, you've had a lot of change there for sure. And maybe that helped you survive too. You know, you never. I mean, again, it's like things line up. You know what I'm saying? Perfectly. When you make them line up perfectly, you know, I think
Right.
that's what a lot of people get stuck in this place where it's like, you know, things will just happen for me or to me, and you can affect change, obviously.
Absolutely.
You have to have a will to live in order to live, and so on and so forth. So then a trial obviously starts at that point. And did you have any fear that there'd be repercussions of this and whatnot, of the fact that someone was going to jail for this stuff like that? Like, what were your thoughts during that?
Really, I just ready to see him go to jail, because honest to God, for a good good portion of it, I had the mentality of like everybody made a slogan. They did a bunch of benefits for me in town, and it was hate has no home here. That was the like the phrase for me in my situation. But over time, I can say I've gone bitter to the situation, just seeing other people that are like defending him, posting stuff on like social media and stuff, and it's like, all right, if that's how people really think, then I have no remorse or anything. So
Well, and it's I think it's important that you say that, man, because if you back up for 1 second, I've seen that in so many situations that I've dealt with, people feeling bad for people that have killed somebody and stuff like that in my own hometown with my own friends, feeling bad for people that have sexually assaulted people and
right.
stuff like that. So I definitely feel you there. That's gotta, when the first time you saw that, how did that make you feel?
Honest to God, straight rage, like, but at this point, it's whatever. I'm more focused, like with this job, it's really opened my eyes to know that there's a lot more opportunity and potential in this world than what I've been shown so far.
Yeah.
So I'm just, at this point, let bygones be bygones. Whatever he gets. That's on the universe to decide. But I'm working on trying to make my life the life I need to be living. So.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is that there's no positive repercussions for that person, right? Like when you look at it, and I think that this is something that growing up, where I grew up, I think around the people that you were around and whatnot too, you don't get too much, but there's no positive repercussions. There's nothing good about it. You're not helping your kids out if you have kids. You're not helping your family out if you have family. You're not helping your friends out. You're not coming out to a better life. You're coming out to a worse life. You're going to jail for a period of time. There's nothing good about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's gotta at least and you meet people every day in your job that have no idea what you've been through. You know what I'm saying? You're meeting people every single day, maybe even from your own town, that maybe even people that donated to one of these things or something like that have no idea.
It was a really weird experience because I've always like I love my parents and everything, but for having as many siblings as I had, I was like the firstborn, so I kind of almost was put on the back burner for a good portion. Just like I was taught how to survive basically, and like that was it. But so I've always been kind of doing my own things, doing what I need to take care of me, and so as just people were offering me all this help and such, like it was so unreal. I didn't know how to handle it. Like it caused me so much stress. It actually made me more depressed because it was like, I don't want anything from any of you, but it's like, no, here, like seriously, take this. I'm like, all right, I guess. It hurt me just to like, even though people were doing it out of kindness and they wanted to help me, it was weird to experience that much compassion from strangers and such. So
yeah, no doubt. Well, yeah, I can see how that'd be difficult. And I mean, people do genuinely want to help, but I think it's funny because when people want to help, they don't like, you're not from the perspective of somebody who gives something like that or something, you're not seeing that side of it, where a lot of people probably don't want to accept, you know what I'm saying?
right.
That and whatnot. Out of everything that you've been through with this situation, what surprised you the most?
My level to persevere. Because for a good portion of the first year after I got out of the hospital, it was a lot of mental battles. I'd wake up in cold sweats in the middle of the night to me getting shot in the face for absolutely no reason, when that's not even what happened. It's just I just constantly had a fear that like someone was coming to get me for no reason.
Yeah.
So that took a long time. Tried a bunch of different medications, didn't help. Sometimes made it worse, but
so how do you, is that still something for you? I mean, I can imagine that, like people talk about PTSD, and now people say they have PTSD when they stub their toe or something like that. There's that, and then there's what you've gone through, and what people in war and whatnot go through, seeing their friends killed, stuff like that. What, how do you feel about that? What have you experienced as far as that goes?
The only times that it's ever really truly triggered is like if someone's legitimately like pointing a barrel of something at me. Granted, like we did just go play paintball and stuff the other day, so it's like I knew I was fine, but like real guns, like they send me on edge. Even though I've tried to like conquer the fear, I've gone out to shooting ranges to just get through it, like operating them again, just being comfortable with a handgun and stuff. But
yeah,
it's just
I during paintball, that was one of the first things I thought of was, and I think it said something about
Yeah, no, but I was good. It was, I knew I was fine.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you don't, I think that, the average person doesn't, even if they know the situation, doesn't understand that, you know what I'm saying?
It takes a lot of mental power is what it takes.
Yeah, okay, all right. And what else, I guess, how do I ask this question? What has surprised you, what has surprised you about the way, the people around you reacted to the situation? If that makes sense?
At the moment, I mean, everybody was all like people I didn't even know. It was like I was a celebrity for a good portion,
Yeah,
for a good
Yeah.
year. And then I've noticed over time it's dwindled down. The hype's done. Like people are back to their normal lives and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's almost as if it didn't happen anymore for a lot of people. Like they forget. Like they just look at me because I'm moving around, moving fine. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
everything's hunky dory.
yeah. But I think a lot of people have trouble dealing with that. You look at the stuff that we see in society and stuff like that. You see like people try to get fame and like literally off of messed up stuff,
Right.
situations with police or whatever, and it's just it's wild. But I guess that when you have all these people around you that are like treating you like a celebrity, like treating you like I got to be around you for this and that,
Yeah.
then it's weird. It's weird. You know what I'm saying?
It made me stay like off all social media for a good portion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. So how did you find this job?
On Indeed. I had a weird situation happen at the factory, and I was like, it's time to get the heck out of here. It is. So I was waiting around for like a couple weeks, just living off of the money that I did have saved up. But then I was like, all right, it's time to try something.
Yeah.
And so found you guys on there. Seth gave me a call, and I was like, had a great conversation with them, and I was really interested in seeing what's up, just because I kind of have a criminal record of doing things. But so I was like, well, if I can sell something, I can sell windows, that's for sure. So
No doubt.
give that a shot.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's, well, we'll get into my theory on that here at some point too. On people to me, it's not like obviously you're selling different things and stuff like that and whatnot, and that can have an effect. But I think it's more what you go through that makes you be able to deal with a job like this, because anybody can go move bales within reason,
Right.
Move bales of hay or make boxes or whatever, and
stock shelves, do something simple. Yeah.
Work at a cash register, within reason. You see people that have very little brain cells, doing, and not to disparage people in those jobs, whatever they need to be done, and they're stepping stones, and they're the right jobs for some people, whatever. But I think that wanting to move forward and wanting to conquer fears and things like that's what makes people do well at a job like this. So you start with the company, and what are some of the biggest struggles when you first started with the job itself? Speaking about door to door and dealing with people, marketing itself, what were some of the biggest struggles that you had?
Yeah. Well, doing it in the wintertime, that definitely getting over that the awkwardness of just coming up to a stranger's door. Of course, that definitely everybody's gonna have butterflies with that, unless you have previous sales experience. I mean,
Yeah.
But no, this was my first sales type of position job, so that took a little while to get through that. Also, like identifying like actual window problems and things of that. Like I've worked a lot with Harry to try and figure out how to effectively fish. And I was doing pretty good there for a good span of the winter time, but then kind of started falling off, needed to get back on track with things, pick up back on script and just stick to it and stuff. But past couple of months I've really like just seen the potential of like what I could be really doing and need to push myself. So
what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to grow to from here?
I'd really like to be a team lead.
Okay.
Like to just possibly use my story as an inspiration for people that come from maybe the same type of position I had in the past, or someone that's just looking for something new. Just it doesn't matter. Like I try to be as happy-go-lucky as possible. Of course, with the PTSD, some days I get in my head, and Seth and Harry both know that. But it's something I've been working on. I've been getting better at it. But
yeah, well, and it's something that I mean, it's not just about what happened to you. When you grow up a certain way, I think, the same thing for me, you confidence can be lost in weird situations, right? So,
Right.
you want to, how do I put it for myself? You really question yourself a lot more. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah. I overanalyze everything. I'll run a scenario through my head 1,000 times before I'll really like to be like, okay, I guess that's a decision I need to make or something like that. But or just a situation that happens and I overthink it, like run it back, like what could have happened when it's already been said and done. Like
Yeah.
I need to just keep moving on. 1,000 in the past, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How do you think that in the job, like what do you think the best if let's say you were in the office right here and somebody started the job today, what would be your biggest piece of advice to that person?
First thing is be confident, be firm. Like that, as long as you sound like you know what you're talking about, that immediately is going to catch somebody's attention. Like knowledge is important with this, yeah, and just confidence, really. So.
And if a company's, let's say, for example, someone that's been in a situation like you, and I'm not talking about the shooting, I'm really not. I'm talking about growing up making some decisions that maybe impacted you negatively, maybe getting arrested, maybe not even, maybe having addiction issues or something like that. When let's say a company you're sitting here interviewing for a job and they're like, well, I don't know, man, your history, I'm not sure. What do you say to that? What do you say to a company? What kind of advice would you give a company in a situation like that?
If they were looking back at my stuff, I'd have to say, like, look, I totally understand. I was in a really bad place for a good portion of my early 20s, and I've really learned that there's more to life. And if you really want things, you have to work hard for them. Nothing's going to get handed to you. And I have become aware of that. And I really wanted to change my way of life. And if you'd be willing to give me a shot, I'd love to show you what I'm capable of.
Cool. Do you have anything else to add besides what we went over?
Never give up. I know life tends to throw you curveballs, put obstacles in front of you. It might seem hopeless for some people. I know how it is. Like there's situations that just seems like you're constantly digging yourself into a hole. But if you really want to change your life, it requires hard work. It really does. You have to want to change your mindset. You have to want to pursue your goals. You have to make goals. That's the important part. Just not giving up.
Excellent. All right, cool. I got one or two other things and then I'm gonna turn this off here. Sorry about the squeaking noises. Sorry, we do not have a high-tech operation here. So we have my laptop, my old ass laptop. That's all right. So that was great and I appreciate that. And I want to point out too, from a perspective of hiring and whatnot, I think the benefit when you don't focus as much on someone's past, of course, you got to make the best decision for your company, and there's certain things that you can't overlook and stuff like that. That makes sense. But one thing that I've been preaching ever since I, grew from the role of canvassing to managing an office is you don't want to leave anybody out from when it comes to your options, right? I mean, I guess the best way to put it is that I've talked to many operations people that are looking for someone with a college degree or looking for someone that has a lot of prior experience or whatever. And to me, that's never been as important as somebody's character and their willingness to do. You know what I'm saying? And, speaking from my own perspective, I think one of the biggest things that's helped me move forward is that I know what I have to go back to if I don't do the right thing. Right. And a lot of other people, they get to go back to their parents who will take care of them, or their spouse who will take care of them, or they have a backup job or something like that. And people like myself, people like Derek, we don't want to go back to our past. We want to move forward. We want to take care of our family, take care of the people around us. And I think that's what helps us move forward, right? So maybe take into consideration when you're hiring somebody. One thing I always do is, what's important to me is having a conversation with the person. I don't want to talk. I want to talk about previous experiences of work and this and that or whatever, but I don't want to focus in too much on that. I want to focus on who a person is and what they've been through and what they are willing to offer up. So what do you think?
Yeah, I totally get it. Like there are like requirements for certain jobs and such like that, but like if someone like is really trying to show you the initiative and ambition to want to do something, like, hey, give them a shot. Like
100%.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, thank you, Derek. Anything else to add?
Um,